Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dulkarnain and Muslim scholars. Number 1. Sheikh Rami al Rifai's opinion. The Prophet Muhammad's enemies challenged him to tell them about the mighty traveler who reached the confines of both east and west. Literally, the east of the earth and the west of it. The Prophet answered, roads were stretched out before him until he traversed the whole earth, east and west. He was given power over every land he trod on until he reached the farthest confines of creation, Ibn Ishaq. According to Ibn Ishaq, Allah says in the Quran, they asked the concerning Dulkarnain, say, and we shall speak unto him a mild command. Dulkarnain traveled the earth until he reached Maghrib al-Shamsi. Ayat 86, the setting place of the sun. Then he traveled until he reached Matli al-Shams 90, the rising place of the sun. Maghrib used in the Quran and Hadith is a common Arabic idiom for the west. Imam al-Qurtubi and other commentators understood the rising and setting to mean the extreme places of the west and east, which is Africa and China, beyond which is nothing but the ocean. The sun rises towards the east, China, and sets towards the west, Africa, which means the far east and west. He thus traveled west toward Al-Ayun, Al-Khalidad or the Canary Island by the Atlantic Ocean in West Africa. From Dulkarnain's respective perspective, it seemed as if the sun set in Hamia or murky boiling water in fetid commotion. Some thought that Muslims believed the sun actually sets in water, but the Quran states that the sun has an orbit in space. The Canary Islands are a chain of volcanic ocean islands. The islands are the example of oceanic hotspot volcanoes above a slow-moving, thick oceanic plate. The islands would have been volcanically active at the time, forming Lanzarote's caves by steam in the lava phase. Hence, the Quran saying he reached the setting of the sun is talking about his intent to travel. It was to find the place, the sunset, because at that time this was a common thought and reason people traveled the world to find where the sun set or rose, which was done by traveling to the far east or far west. He did both, unlike others. Such journeys are often mentioned in mythologies like that of the Vikings. Thousands of years ago, only the prophets understood what the sun was. Hence, the verse, he found it set in a spring of murky water, is a statement about the water it seemed to set in of the coast of Africa. And his state of mind and belief about the sun. To most people who believed the earth was flat, back then, this was the end of the world itself. He then traveled to the easterly part of the world and he found it rising on a people for whom we had appointed no shelter therefrom, which means China's deserts. China has some of the largest deserts in the world, spanning from one end of it almost to the other along its northern borders, which would equate relatively with the line from west to east Dulkarnain traveled. It was Gobi Desert. It is Gobi Desert. So his journey passed through the deserts of China, reaching the Gobi Desert and further, possibly, to the coast. It is possible thousands of years ago the desert reached closer to the coast than it does today. The people were described as those who found no shelter from the sun. But that doesn't mean every region of their land was like this. It is a characterization of the people found in northern China, which was multiple countries and people in those times. The capital city of China, Beijing, is relatively near the Gobi Desert, and the Yellow Sea on China coast is near it. In terms of land mass, the farthest land mass in the east of the world is to the north in Russia. The earth curves that way, but that land is in the north of the earth and mainly cold and desolate with little inhabitants. Dulkarnain would have to have deviated from his east-west travel to head for north, then east to get there. If we follow the coast and curvature of the world and having no map of the world, telling him technically there is more land in an easterly direction to the far north. This doesn't seem likely because the Quran states he traveled the east and west of the earth only and in a relatively straight line. Having said all that, the verse he found it rising on a people for whom we had appointed no shelter therefrom. Could mean if he did travel north to northeastern Russia, that it is referring to the people of the north who experience sunlight from months on end and have no shelter from this extended day. Then again, that goes against the idea of finding the setting place and rising place of the sun if you are in a location where it doesn't set or rise, which is the hallmark of the verses in the Quran. In either case, this has no bearing no on location of the wall of Gog Magog, Yajuj Majuj, which is back in the opposite direction. Imam Qurtubi said, it is not meant by reaching the rising or setting of the sun that he reached its body and touched it because it turns in the sky around the earth without touching it. And it is too great to enter any spring on earth. It is so much larger than earth. But it is meant that he reached the end of populated land east and west. So he found it the sun. According to his vision, setting in a spring of murky water, like we watch it in smooth land as if it enters inside the land. That is why he said he found it rising on a people for whom we had provided no covering protection against the sun. Holy Quran 1890. And did not mean that it touches or adheres to them, but they are the first to rise on. Or probably this spring is a part of the sea and the sun sets behind, with or at it. So the proposition takes the place of an adjective, and God knows best. Al Qurtubi died 671 AH 1273 CE. Al Game Le Ahlam Al Quran. The Gobi Desert 9. In China, at the most easterly tip reaches above Beijing, which is midway between it and the coast. We have to remember this is all prior to China being populated like it is today. The map above is also accurate to the curvature of the earth, showing an accurate east and west. The Tropic of Cancer line is fairly close to the path Dulkarnain would have taken, but because of the natural land features and Himalayan mountains in the east, between 7, 8, and 9 running above in India to the tip of 8, it would have taken him more north towards the Gobi Desert as he traveled towards China. So, in the east, his journey would end closer to where Beijing is today. Dulkarnain first travels west to Africa when he travels east to China, which would have ended his journey covering the expanse of the earth. After visiting China, he travels back towards Arabia, which is, as its name suggests, the Middle East, is in the middle. Then he followed a road till when he came between the two mountains, he found upon their hither side a fog that scarce could understand a saying. Therefore, we know the wall can't be in the furthest east or west of the earth, but somewhere on his travels back. The evidence for the location of the wall are many. This map shows the area or land on which Zulkarnain ruled.